Hello everyone, I'm Ade Oladipo and welcome back to the Men's Room podcast, a podcast where we talk about all things men. Today, well, all of them really, but this is a very, very interesting subject because we're talking about growing old. And I say interesting subject because every time I go into the talkSPORT 2 studios, Rory says, dress your age. Every time I got a baseball cap on or a pair of Converse, supposedly, as a 41-year-old, those things are not allowed. And I think you dress too old. You think I dress too young? Somewhere in the middle, we need to get it correct.
I mean, I'm right here.
No, you are wrong.
I'm definitely
correct. You are wrong. You dress like an old man.
Mate, you dress like a 20-year-old.
Because I'm trying to be 20 still.
No, but you don't want to be 20.
Well, you dress like a 60-year-old.
20-year-olds are awful.
Are you trying to be 60?
That's just sounds so old already, don't it? 20-year-olds are awful.
20-year-olds are awful.
They really are, though.
All right, let's just get things out of the way. I'm 41. How old are you?
37.
37. Talk to me about...
I'm not. 38.
38.
Wait a minute.
There you go. Trying to take a year away.
I'm 38.
38. What's it like getting old and knowing you're getting old? When did you first realise I'm getting old? Like, what was the first thing?
I think it's that exhale of breath that you have to do to stand up. That's the moment, isn't it? You know when you do that sharp exhale?
Yeah.
Just as you sit down, like the... I think there's a moment there. Football, I'll tell you when it was. I'll tell you what's a real pivotal moment.
Go on.
Through all my life, I played football an awful lot. Spent so much time playing football. It's definitely my priority. It's where I'm at my happiest. When 2 games, consecutive days, or even in the same day.
Yeah.
So for example, I used to play on a Monday. I used to play on a Monday. There's a Monday morning game that I'm still playing, but I used to play in a Monday league in that night. Didn't trouble me at all. Played a morning, played a night. That became impossible. That became impossible when I turned about 32.
You know what's very interesting about both of us is the fact that when we tell people our ages, the first response we both get is like, you're not that old.
Yeah, we look young.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, the body doesn't feel like you're telling me because my body feels old now. Yeah,
although I would like to think that, you know that respiratory age. You know, you can do those things. Do you ever do them at your gym?
100%.
I've got a 27-year-old.
Oh, really? You're 27?
Yeah. I'm 27 at heart, genuinely, but not in my personality.
Try and dress like one if you can.
But no, I don't think that we're old. I don't think that we're old for our age. I think we're young for our age, but with glaring moments where we
100%
display.
I remember thinking 41 was very old because I remember my uncles coming round when I was young, and they would be big and sort of big bellies, and I think, geez, this is old. Yeah, and they were late 30s, early 40s. Yeah. So I remember thinking that is old. And when I got to 40, I remember thinking, one second, I'm in the gym. I'm still looking relatively good shape, quite youthful. You know, run around, go for a jog. This isn't what I visualised 41 or 40 being. 40
is younger now because society has made 40 younger.
Yeah.
Because 40-year-olds in my mum's generation, they had kids that were 21.
Yeah.
Whereas 40-year-olds now don't have kids yet. You know, they're probably just buying their first house. So everybody is younger because society has made us younger. But I feel my age, I think. I quite like my age, though. I must admit, I do like being older. I'm happier now than I've ever been, definitely.
I agree with that. I don't mind this. I remember approaching it thinking, and I think my problem was I associated age with, okay, I need to hit certain points. So I have to have the house.
Yeah.
Have to have the
societal
nice car,
pressure.
Have to have this amount of money in the bank. So I remember hitting a certain age and not having those things, thinking, okay, this is kind of failure then. Whereas now...
But that's nothing to do with the age, though. That's to do with the pressures of society. That's like a man-made construct of something that we put on your... Yeah. That isn't the reality.
That's not the reality. No.
The aging process, you don't have to be anything. So no, I certainly kind of feel my age. I especially feel my age when I'm around youngsters. If I'm around a 25-year-old or a group of 25-year-olds, that's when I feel my age.
I was going to ask you about getting on a bus, but you don't get on buses that much anymore. But I know I'm old when I get on the back of the bus and kids come on and I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
And I know it's going to be loud. And I'm thinking, that was me in college. I was even louder than them.
You do actually become very sensitive to noise.
You're
do
like,
you know?
Shut up.
Do you know where I had an argument on the tube? Do you know what a kid was doing? He's just listening, like watching his phone, but with no headphones.
Dude,
There's no headphones.
But I know, but
I was
why?
like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I mean, what are you doing?
We make that such a big thing.
Yeah.
There's a girl the other day that had it, and it wasn't even that. It was just she was playing a game. So every 7 seconds you'd hear like, deep.
Yeah. Like,
and I'm
put
thinking,
it on silent or put some headphones
moaning?
in, mate.
And I looked at her like...
Did you say something?
No, I just gave her the look.
Oh, no, see,
she carried on.
Yeah, Yeah,
clearly
my
not
wife
scared.
is getting very frustrated with me as I get older because I am acting upon these impulses. I had a big argument with somebody in the cinema because they were breathing.
No, but
too
you are
loud.
quite grumpy though.
Yeah, well, I don't.
I've
do you
been
know
on
when
holiday
people
with you. You are quite
people
grumpy.
when people behave badly,
Yeah.
I can't let it go. I just can't. Do you know who I am? This is what my wife will always tell me. I'm Larry David from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah.
So somebody does something stupid.
It stays with you.
If you behave in a stupid manner, I get so annoyed that I then look wrong.
Yeah, because that was like
as happened in the
as
office.
happened in the office recently. We've asked our talkSPORT listeners what they worry about most when it comes to aging. Here are some of the popular responses we've got. The first one, which I share with you people, losing your hair. Now,
do you know what? The barnet is such a thing for fellas, isn't it?
it's become such a thing.
It's such a thing.
Like for me, I'm quite lucky because I just bald it. So it's not as big a thing. But I remember I started to lose my hair in my 20s. So I never associated that with just getting old. I remember going to the barber shop and the Jamaican men would say, "You're going to be rich." I'm like, what are you talking about? That, like, if you lose your hair young, for them, Jamaican tradition means that money's coming your way. And I think, I've got a $5 in my pocket.
But do you know what's very interesting about you with the bald head? Yeah. I've never... I mean, I know now, because also when we went away together, when we were in America, it grows around the sides.
Yeah.
Usually you're completely bald, and therefore you don't know that it grows around the sides.
Yeah.
But I thought that you were bald. I think you're very lucky because you're handsome and young and muscly and that.
Thank you.
You get away with it because I think that you are... There is a huge swathe of bald people that are bald by choice.
100%, by the way. There's a lot of this beard and bald head thing going on.
I thought you were that.
No, I wish.
I thought you were that.
No, I wish. So that was it. Middle-age spread. Now, are we talking about the bit around the area?
It's the spare tyre around the gut, innit? The old Derby Kelly.
The old Derby Kelly.
It definitely happens. It definitely happens. There's nothing you can do.
No, there's nothing.
There's nothing you can do.
When I see, like, I don't want to call them idiots, but I just did, at the gym counting macros. I'm gonna weigh the rice. I'm like, dude,
that's an idiot.
You're never gonna have a six pack, mate. It's gone.
Yeah. That's an idiot. I can't really get on board with being like that and being that dedicated to swerving it. I think it's just part of life, and I've managed to live with it. The only it's annoying because do you know what happened to me fairly recently? I changed size of clothing.
Yeah,
I actually went up a size. So I was always small. My size was small. I'm not small anymore.
I saw a picture of you in Malta recently when you was at the beach, or sorry, in the pool. Do you not feel funny? Because obviously I've seen you with a six pack.
Yeah.
So do you not feel funny when you take your top off and it's not a six pack? You don't care? Do you not care?
I don't care because do you know what else happens? And this is how I try to feel. You know, if you're my age and you've got a six pack and you're all muscly, like I mean proper.
Yeah.
You're weirdo, aren't you?
Why? We're talking about
because you're not living a proper like it's impossible.
Okay,
it's impossible unless you're an athlete. Because if you're living a normal life, and by normal life, if you're like, it's impossible to go to the gym that often when you're this busy. You like going out for dinner. Everyone likes to have a bottle of wine with dinner. You won't have a six. At 27, you'll get away with it. Yeah. 27, you can eat what you want, and as long as you go to the gym and make sure that you put a bit of effort in, you'll be fit. That won't happen when you're 37. It won't be like that.
It's incredibly
So if it
different.
is like that, then I think that you've got an issue. Like you know when you see that geezer sitting there drinking a protein shake and he's like 48. It's like, you're an accountant, bro. What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? You don't need that.
Yeah. Like, there's health and there's being healthy, which we all want to be.
No,
obviously.
always go to. I go to the gym all the time.
You've gone too far.
Yeah, I go to the gym. I go to the gym a lot. I play football a lot. I'm very active. I'm very aware of making sure that I exercise on some level every day. But what you won't have when you get to a certain age, you will not be sculpted like a Roman god. You will not have that Herculean torso that I used to have.
I still want it.
No, but you won't. And if you have it, it's weird.
No, I'm going to achieve.
Mate, I had it at 27. I had that. Remember you saw the picture in Munich?
Fantastic.
When I was celebrating in Munich.
I couldn't believe it. You were definitely tensing.
I was tensing because I was celebrating.
No, I think you were celebrating and tensing though, because you knew the camera was on you.
I used to go to the gym all the time, but you're never going to have that.
Next one. This is interesting. And be honest about this one. Erectile dysfunction.
Erectile. God dear. I mean, I think everyone. Do you know what? I've had my moments. Obviously,
have you really?
I've had my moments, but it hasn't ever been because of being old. I haven't yet had it through being old. I've had it through being boozy.
Really?
I've had my moments through being boozy.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah,
never had it.
I've had it through being boozy. Yeah, but never through being old. But I suppose that's a joy I can look forward to.
It's coming.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
that'd be a fantastic evening.
This one's interesting because I didn't experience this until recently, and it's quite annoying. Hairy ears and hairy nose. I haven't experienced the ears one. The nose one though is clearly a thing.
I haven't got either.
Oh, you're so lucky.
I've never had either of those.
Really? It's got to the point where I was actually going to get a machine. Look at you checking. Yeah. I'm going to get a machine and double check like, have a hairy nose. I was going to get a machine and actually because it starts to get a bit crazy. Now this one is more for me than for you. Isolation.
I thought you were going to say the next one. And I thought, why is that more for you?
We might be. Isolation. This is true. This one's true, especially for me now because a lot of my friends at this age do have wife and kids.
Yeah.
Got wife and kids, got a good job. So you rarely see them. So growing up, we were all out, 18 would be in central London. In your 20s, we're going to Yates or Bagley's. 30s, they get kids. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? And you start out on Thursday night. No, I can't. I'm like, what's... So I've realised now that I'm 41, I think all of my friends, maybe apart from one, isn't married with kids.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I even feel weird disturbing them. Because I know, like, I don't want to, you just come home. Yeah. He will say, yes, he's coming out, but I feel bad on the missus. So I've realised you do get a bit lonely because most of my friends around my age now just don't have the time.
I think there is a hard time for certain fellas who remain single for longer. I do empathise. I do see the issue.
Do you empathise?
I do. I certainly see it. I've got a couple of friends that are like that. Mm. And in say my boys' WhatsApp group, 7 boys.
Yeah.
One is with a girlfriend but hasn't got a kid. Mm. And he's kind of started to hang out with a little bit of a different crowd who are in his situation, a little bit of a younger crowd. I think you can go young. I think, you can still hang out with the 30-year-olds. When you get to 37, when you were 30, you were hanging out with 30-year-olds. But then you get to 37 and you've still got to hang out with the 30-year-olds because they're in your situation.
Because they're the only ones in the same position.
Yeah, I do understand that. And I can see why that would be a very difficult time for a bloke. I mean, it's different for me. I mean, I crave isolation. If Victoria tells me that she's going to see her family for a night, I'm planning what I'm going to do, what am I going to watch, what am I going to eat, what am I going to drink. It's brilliant. But I want them back. I want them they can go for the max. I enjoy it for, say, 2 nights. Then I need them back.
Yeah. No, you're right.
But isolation, I can assure you, enjoy it. Enjoy it, because when it's gone, it's gone.
And you're never getting it back. Sagging skin. No. I've never thought of this, but I guess when you do see people in there, the 70s, maybe 60s, you do see it.
This is older than us, isn't it?
This is way older than us. Yeah. If you got this at 40, then you might have a little issue.
But all of these things, all of these aesthetic things, so the skin and the hair and the lack of hair and whatever, I don't really care. I honestly don't. Because the things that matter to me now aren't that. There was a time when I was incredibly aware of...
The
physical doesn't matter. Yeah. I love my wife. I'm convinced that my wife loves me. I don't care.
We'll call her in check.
Yeah, I didn't know. Do you know what I mean? I don't think that these things matter because the truth of the matter is these things don't matter. Like, the reality is, I'm totally correct in saying this, unequivocally, it doesn't matter. No, but think it matters.
No, the bottom one does. The bottom one's the most,
that's different.
The bottom 2, maybe.
But physical decline in terms of the aesthetics.
Yeah.
Not your liver packing up. That's terrible.
No. Yeah, I mean,
But I mean, sagging skin or a hair. You've got to trim your ears or whatever we're talking about here. Bald head, even. It literally doesn't matter. You think it does, and it does matter to you. And I'm not disregarding your problem, but I assure you, it doesn't matter. And if you had a situation in your life where you could worry about that. You say that, but what if, for example, we're both in the media space, so we're on camera quite a lot. So for me, I admit, when I'm wearing a suit and I'm on stage with people that look really good, like Tony Bailey always looks great in a suit, Laura Woods looks fantastic in a dress, I equally want to look as good as possible next to them. So I'm not thinking... we're doing well. I know we've got a job to do in terms of delivery and we're going to get paid quite well. And that's in the back of my mind. But I'm also thinking, I've got to look a certain way. And this as well, because TV producers and directors pick a certain look of people. They've got a certain look. I mean, you look at who delivers whatever. You're an extreme example. Yeah. You're an extreme example. You've just said that you're on stage with Tony Bellew and Laura Woods. That's a very rare case study. For the average person who has an average job... the typical person, it really doesn't matter.
Do you think there's more pressure though because of social media now? So
Yes,
Instagram.
social media is hateful. It's terrifying. It really troubles me. I'm just hoping that by the time my kid is old enough to be impressionable with regard to social media, that it will have changed.
Yeah.
But social media today, I think it's detestable. I really do. I think it's so destructive, and I'm just lucky that I can deal with it. I'm old enough to deal with it, and you can call me what you want on there, and I don't care.
Grumpy.
That would be the kindest thing anyone has said to me today. But no, I think it's awful. I do honestly. I think it's awful, and I have a secret little fantasy that if I were to win the lottery or something,
press that delete button.
I'll be out. Yeah.
Yeah. The final one, and I guess this is the most important one when it comes to age, and I've noticed it because like I see my mum and I see the amount of tablets she gets, and we want to try and keep her as healthy as possible. Health problems.
Now this matters.
Now this is very, very important, isn't it?
Yeah, this matters, and this is the priority. This is the only thing that matters.
Does it matter for you now? Like at 37 or 38, Rory doesn't know his age. Are you already now thinking, okay, I've got to be a lot healthier in terms of what I eat, and a glass of wine gets put down because I've done maybe too many? Like, do you think of those things now?
I've always thought about it. I've always taken health very seriously. I've always tried to eat a balanced, healthy diet. I've always gone to the gym. I've always tried to dedicate time to health. Yeah. So I've always cared.
Yeah.
And now I've got older, I think I probably care a bit more. Yeah, I think I do.
Do you take vitamins or anything like that? Do you go down that route?
I'll always have a spoonful of pure cod liver oil every night.
Get in yourself
before dinner. I'll always do that. But yeah, I take the health side of things very seriously.
Okay.
But not. So you see, for example, I probably exercise 5 times a week.
Same here.
I used to do 7. I used to go every day. Yeah. Like even on a minor day, I'd go round for a sauna and do 20 lengths. You know, just a little bit. Now it's more difficult, time consuming with my daughter and wife and whatever. But yeah, I definitely don't let it affect what I eat because I have my natural selection is quite healthy anyway, food-wise. I don't eat biscuits and chocolates, and I mean I eat chocolates in terms of like a little truffle after dinner, but I don't eat a Cadbury caramel. I wouldn't dream of that. I wouldn't eat a bag of crisps. You know, I don't do that.
Oh, you're missing out, kid.
Really, I don't get a buzz off that.
Some good crisp out there.
I drink too much, and I love a big dinner, and I go to restaurants and eat a lot in a restaurant. Yeah. But I'll always then go to the gym and go for a run. So if I've been to the Hawksmoor, I order everything. You know, I get the cream spinach and I get the chips and I get whatever and I eat it all greedy. But yeah, tomorrow I'll go for a run over the heath or wherever I live now.
So posh, aren't you?
Aspirational.
A run over the heath.
I don't live there anymore. That's something I would have said a year ago.
Yeah. How do you see yourself in sort of the next 20, 30 years? What kind of old person do you think you'll be?
Larry David.
Really? That's you?
Moany.
I'm definitely Victor Meldrew, and I couldn't believe
Moany, but right.
Oh, okay. So,
I'm moany, but right.
Yeah.
I'm totally correct. You'll do something stupid, and I'll get the hump, and I'll look an idiot. But you're actually wrong.
Yeah, but that's just because you're old school. You've got your old school morals.
Yeah. The other thing, I've started to get really annoyed by just conduct of people.
Really?
Yeah. I was really put out. I went for dinner recently.
I've got to jump across you. I'm with you on that. Yeah. The other day, I was going down to lunch in the News UK building, and someone didn't open the door. Like, he's walking, I'm right behind him.
Yeah, yeah.
He just literally let himself in. Like, literally opened the gap.
Did you say something?
No, I didn't.
I'd always say something.
Did you?
If somebody doesn't hold the door, I go, you're welcome. Or if I hold it and you don't say thank you, I'll go, you're welcome. Make sure that they hear it. Yeah. Do you know, I went for dinner. I was in Malta with 2 people, one of them being Adam McCullough, who I know you know. We were having a lovely meal in a very nice restaurant in Malta. Beautiful, in fact, fish restaurant. There was somebody sitting behind me on the table. I didn't realise they were there until I went to the toilet. When I sat back down, wearing a cap. They were wearing a cap in the restaurant.
At dinner? Okay.
Yeah. And it was really... And do you know what Adam had to do? No. I went, I need to tell him to take his hat off, don't I?
Oh,
Adam was like, no, mate.
I pray to God you did not do that.
I was ready to. Adam took me off the ledge, but I was ready to say, you're in a really nice restaurant. Have some respect and take your cap off. What are you wearing a cap at dinner for, you weirdo?
Okay, you are going to be
But it's incredibly disrespectful. Do you not think it's disrespectful?
Yeah, but it's not bothering my life, is it?
No, it's not. But that's the point. That's the point. Just people's conduct, strangers' conduct winds me up.
You know what I have seen about you, though? Like, we've obviously, every time we drive here, so I pick Rory up and we get here. And I wouldn't say I have road rage, but I can get a bit grumpy on the road.
You do, yeah.
And Rory's very much... Doesn't
No,
bother
I'm
you.
tranquilo
Yeah,
on
like
the roads,
calm
man.
down. It doesn't
Yeah.
bother you like that. Yeah.
Oh, I'm a knight. I'm the most chivalrous driver on the road. I'm a knight of the road. I let everyone go. But if you don't say thank you,
Yeah.
I will hunt you down and I will find you. If I let you go,
Liam Neeson, yeah.
If I let you go and you don't give me that wave,
You remember.
well, I'll beep you and swear at you. I was like, oh. Yeah, but that's all it takes. All you have to do is wave and I'm totally fine.
We're done. All right, I've got some talking points. Tell me what you think. Men in particular are finding it very difficult to deal with. In fact, it's the very ideals of masculinity that make aging difficult for many men.
The ideals of masculinity can also make it easier, though. Yeah. I think the ideals of masculinity, when you think about what being masculine means, I feel like I live by a lot of those mantras.
Yeah.
I think it makes it quite easy because you acquiesce to the fact that it's going to happen.
But I do think there are some when obviously in a relationship, people have been together for a long time, and ideally the men take care of the woman, etc. We're being sort of old-fashioned with it. And then it does get to the stage where the men just get older and they can't do things, and it almost looks like the woman's now the carer for the man. And
that's horrific. That's my worst nightmare.
Yes, it is,
that will never happen.
Yeah.
That will never happen.
Yeah.
If that happens, it doesn't happen. Like Victoria will never have to look after me.
Touch wood.
No,
Touch it.
I mean, yeah.
Touch it.
But I mean, I will make sure that isn't the case. But I think that the ideals of masculinity don't really make it hard. I disagree with that. I think that society today makes it hard, but that's because society today doesn't adhere to the ideals of masculinity. Society today makes it very difficult to be manly, makes it very difficult to acknowledge masculinity, makes it very difficult to be a traditional man. And that's why it's so difficult to grow old, because you have to be a very different man these days. Masculinity is frowned upon, and that's 100%. Why it's hard to get old. But not in my house, because my house is 1956.
Yeah, says the man that's getting a cat dictated to by his younger daughter. This is interesting. Problem with how society views the older generation. And again, I guess this goes back to...
This is the respect thing.
This is the respect thing.
Yeah, there was a lack of this.
Big time. Like I could see an older lady sort of carrying a couple of heavy bags on her way to a bus stop, and I'm going to want to help her. This
exact thing happened when I was getting on a plane yesterday, coming back from Malta. We're walking around the airport to get on this plane. There's a fellow in front of me. There's a woman in front of me. So all strangers. The lady in front of this guy, so I'm 4 behind. The lady in front of this guy is like one at a time trying to get this bag up the plane, to climb. So I've had to push in front of 3 people and go, do you want me to run that up for you? And the glare I've given this bloke, the bloke is standing behind me.
You've got to give the glare.
He's watching her. He's watching this woman struggle up. I've just run. I went, I'll carry them up for you, shall I? She said, thank you. I looked at this bloke.
Did that look again?
Even telling the story I'm living. I've looked at this bloke and the rage that I'm feeling in that situation. I was like, you're watching this woman agonise over this suitcase, getting it on a plane. You could run it up there in 30 seconds. Well, 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
Get back down, get your bag up, you go. Yeah, no, the lack of empathy and love of the older generation is actually a sickener in society.
It's scary, isn't it? It's very, very scary. This is the final one. I think this is probably the best one. Women are offered solutions to aging, whereas men are expected to embrace growing old. And it's interesting because when you watch...
That's such a divisive state. No, that's not right.
It's kind of true though, isn't it? When you watch adverts, it's the aging creams are sort of dictated towards ladies. I think only now they started to realise that men want those things as well. When you think of plastic surgery, maybe not so much anymore, but back in the day, you think of things like Botox. It was more geared towards females than it is to men. I know a lot of men that do it. Things like that.
I would say that's true? So where it says expected to grow old gracefully, I would say I personally expect both sexes to grow old gracefully. I expect everybody to.
Has Victoria never yet, and you don't have to say, it's up to you if you want to say it or not, has she never ever mentioned about wanting a boob lift or anything?
No.
Yeah?
Never.
Okay.
It's really not her that.
Okay.
It's really not like that sort of society. You
know
that?
No, because my sister, who's very, she had she's had 3 kids, and she's like, they've just gone. They've just gone. The boyfriend clearly remembers them being a bit more, and she's thinking they need to go back up. I mean, I'm quite. So it's not, Pamela Anderson. No. She's not doing the, Babe watching the 90s, but she just wants them a bit more up.
No, we're quite fortunate on that. I mean, Victoria's, thank God, they're fairly pert, and therefore there's no major priority on that front. But it isn't her. But I'd expect everyone to grow old gracefully.
Do you?
I think it's mad. When people start, young girls, young pretty girls.
Yeah.
from Essex or whatever that show
Start
Essex.
doing it. Yeah, the only way is Essex, and they've done everything in their 20s.
In their 20s, and they're beautiful. You think, now I'm so much older than them. I look at them, I think, they're just good. Like youth is beautiful in itself. I just think you're so good looking. What on earth are you ruining it for with all this ridiculous?
What do you make of chasing this beauty thing? Like, people go to Turkey and get their teeth taken out completely, literally take them out and then put a false. Like literally, they removed the whole lot and put another lot in. Like, it's just crazy.
No, do you know what? There are certain things where I kind of understand it.
What would you do?
I think I'd do the Hampsteads if I had to.
Would you?
I think I'd get the teeth done if I had to, because a lot of effort goes into looking presentable.
By the way, Rory uses a lot of Cockney slang on here. So when he says Hampstead, he means Hampstead Heath teeth.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that I would get them done because, a lot of effort. We all put in a lot of effort to looking presentable.
Yeah.
We buy nice clothes, we go to the gym, you put on a bit of moisturiser and you hope for the best, right? Yeah. It's all completely pointless if you've got moody teeth. If your teeth are bad, do you remember there was an advert where the beautiful woman and she turned round? It was for a mouthwash.
Yeah, it was for a mouthwash. Corsador.
Yeah, it was for a mouthwash.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful girl. And she turned around and she smiled and she had a tooth missing and a bit of black.
Yeah.
And you think
just took the whole look away.
You think,
it?
oh wow. So the teeth, I think you have to have good. And also, I haven't
done that. Do you do like manicures?
No, I don't.
I've done one.
I don't have manicures.
Want to go again?
I have. I have the odd facial.
Massages.
I had one. I have a massage a lot.
Yeah.
No, I have a massage at least once a month.
Okay.
I mean, so do you. I had a massage
you're not as
with
masculine
you.
as I thought.
I had a massage with you.
Yeah, no, easy.
Different rooms.
Different rooms. Different times.
But no, I do. I think there's an element of metrosexualism to us both, because it's like being presentable is important. Very. Buying nice clothes is important.
Very.
Looking as good
Smelling
as you can.
good.
Yeah, looking as good as you can is important. But equally, within reason.
You know what's crazy? I read somewhere that like men, I've not got the biggest calves in the world, but some men do calf implants.
Yeah, see, as soon as you start talking about that, I mean, I check out massively. I think it goes insane now. I think people are trying to fundamentally change who they are by fundamentally changing their body. Like, that's ridiculous. Yeah. Do you know what I was reading the other day?
Go on.
It's a terrible, sad, harrowing story to those involved. But Kanye West, are you aware of how his mother died?
No.
It's unbelievable.
Go on.
I think she died, and I do hope I get this right, but she went in to have her bottom
lifted,
blown up, bigger, and complications arose through that plastic surgery, and she died.
That's crazy.
She died. I mean, it's so sad, but from a personal perspective of this, I just think it's so pointless. I think it's such an avoidable.
You know, when I think of that sort of people doing the anti-aging thing, look, anti-aging creams are fine.
Yeah.
So, I get all that. Even though I don't believe in it all, I get it. I think it's more what you put in your body as opposed to sort of healthy lifestyle than a bit of cream on your face. But then when you look at people that were just very, very good looking, sort of in there, like Mickey Rourke is an example. Mickey Rourke was like a sex symbol in the 80s.
Handsome,
very handsome man. Look at him now when he's been trying to chase this age thing. He looks awful.
No, they look insane.
They look insane. It's actually, it looks insane. It looks like a cartoon character.
No, a 70-year-old who's had loads of plastic surgery is terrifying. It looks terrifying. Do you remember Sylvester Stallone's mother?
I do remember Sylvester Stallone's mother.
Like, shit, that to me is the face of a nightmare. You know, if I wake up startled in the night, it's that face, isn't it? That plastic.
Jackie Stallone, I think her name was. Jackie Stallone.
There's a few. There's an English fellow as well.
There was a lot back then. I don't think people are doing it as much.
Do you know the nightmare? This is applicable to you and I, and I imagine a lot of our listeners. This is what you don't want to become, and it's there, and it could happen to all of us. The person who doesn't accept that they're older, so the person who fights it in the most aggressive way. So they buy themselves a car that they shouldn't drive.
What do they say? They say, what's that? The middle-aged man?
They call it the midlife crisis.
Midlife crisis.
But you know where I find it really funny?
Go on.
When a man of the wrong age has like dyed hair that is obviously dyed. You know, it's like blonde.
Yeah.
It's like blonde, like Paul Weller's hair now. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Completely blonde. They've had the surgery and they've got the haircut into such a fashion there. It's so young. Like, you know, now
You get that with those old rockers, don't you?
well, the old
old
rockers do it,
rockers.
with the like Paul
They
Weller
do,
does it
yeah,
with the rockers, you know, the mod haircut, where I think it looks ridiculous. But even more so, do you know now young, trendy lads,
Hipsters.
they've all got the short round the side. What do they call it? Skin fade.
Mm-hmm.
Right. When I get my haircut now, I have to emphasise: do not give me that because I'm too old for it. Do not give me a step or a skin fade or anything too short round the sides because I look ridiculous.
You know, it's funny you say that though. I remember like being in a club in my 20s and seeing 40-year-olds come into the club and chase the girls and thinking, God, look at what are they doing.
What are you doing? No, it's tragic.
I go to those
but
clubs
that's
now.
what you need to not be.
I
like
go to those clubs.
That's it. Not
sometimes.
really.
I do
not
sometimes.
really.
Once a month I might pop in.
Yeah, but the way you're in there, you're not chasing.
I'm certainly not chasing young tail like that, no.
Also though, that look to me is just, you know, if you're 40 and you've dyed your hair and you've got a skin fade, me and you're never getting on. Like, you know, when I see someone like that,
I don't think 40's that old for it.
it's so old for it.
40?
It's a 20-year-old
What are you
haircut,
doing?
Eddie. It's a 20.
40's not old.
It's old for
I
that.
think this is the problem. We started with this and then we're going to end with this. I think I'm too young. You think you're too old.
No.
You're 60. You're 37 going on 60. I'm 41 going on 28. We need help.
Hey, both of us need help.
Both of us.
Send help.
Send help.
Can anyone
please.
listening to this send help?
Send help. Indeed. What you also need to do is make sure you comment underneath the podcast. Let us know what podcast you want to do next. We've done some really good ones. And I think today was a fun one as well. Remember, you can download your podcast from wherever you download your podcast from. And make sure you tune into the next episode of The Men's Room next Monday.